For centuries, the Galactic Council had watched humanity with quiet amusement. They saw humans as a young and reckless species, clever, yes, but bound by their emotions and primitive instincts. To the elder civilizations, Earth was a small and noisy world, filled with beings who dreamed far bigger than their size. The Council never considered humans a threat. They were explorers, traders, and inventors, but never warriors capable of shaking the balance of power among the stars. That illusion ended the day humanity's Titan-class warship entered the battlefield. It began with a border incident, a small patrol of the Varkon Empire, a reptilian race known for their war fleets, stumbled upon a human convoy mining in a disputed nebula. To the Varkons, the humans were trespassers. To the humans, it was free space. The confrontation escalated fast. When the Varkon commander fired on the miners, expecting them to surrender, he triggered something the Council would never forget. The distress call from the convoy reached Earth's Defense Command, and the response was immediate. Within hours, a massive shadow cut through the void. A warship unlike anything the Council had ever recorded. Its name was Titan, the first of its kind, built in secret after decades of human unity and sacrifice. While the aliens boasted of ancient empires, the humans had quietly focused on one thing: building a ship that could ensure they would never kneel again. The Council's observers watched the encounter live from their orbital station, curious to see how this new ship would fare against the seasoned fleets of the Varkon Empire. They expected a swift defeat, but the moment Titan arrived, their sensors struggled to read its energy output. Its armor reflected scans, its structure radiated power beyond calculation. The silence in the Council chamber grew heavy as the warship aligned its course. The Varkon fleet commander laughed through the transmission channels. He mocked the humans, calling their ship a metal toy painted for war. But when the first volley came, laughter died. A single pulse from Titan's main cannon sliced through 3 Varkon cruisers like they were made of paper. The light was blinding, not just a weapon's flash, but a message to the galaxy. Humanity had entered a new age. The Council members leaned closer to their displays, disbelief spreading among them. The Varkon Empire was one of the oldest military powers in the region. Their ships had fought in countless wars. Yet this human vessel, this single construct from a once-ignored species, had just destroyed a fleet worth billions. The data feeds showed impossible readings. A power core that seemed alive, systems that adapted in real time, and shield harmonics beyond known physics. It wasn't just technology. It was defiance made metal. But the humans hadn't built Titan just for war. They had built it because they remembered. They remembered every planet they'd lost to arrogance. Every insult from alien diplomats, every treaty written to keep them in their place. Titan was not just a ship. It was history forged into steel, carrying the silent rage of a species that had been underestimated too long. As the battle unfolded, the Council's hidden fears became real. Titan didn't fight like any known fleet. It didn't rely on numbers or tricks or fear. It fought with precision, as if every human life behind it mattered. It took hits that would have torn smaller ships apart, yet kept advancing. Its movements were slow, deliberate, and unstoppable, like a mountain sliding across the stars. When the Varkons tried to retreat, Titan didn't chase them. Instead, it deployed drones, small, fast, and self-guided. Each drone carried a miniature fusion core, engineered to seek enemy energy signatures. Within minutes, the entire Varkon squadron vanished in a series of white explosions that painted the nebula brighter than a sunrise. The signal feeds flickered across the Council's halls, and silence followed, a silence filled with awe and fear. Every race in the chamber turned their gaze to the human delegate sitting among them. For years, that delegate had been ignored during discussions of power. Now no one dared meet his eyes. Humanity had changed the rules without permission. Reports spread across the galaxy faster than light. The Titan-class warship became the most discussed creation in centuries. Some said it used a hybrid AI-human neural link. Others claimed it was powered by an energy source recovered from deep ruins on Mars. The truth was simpler but more terrifying. It was powered by human will, a design meant to merge man and machine in perfect unity. The ship's captain, Admiral Reese Calder, was not just a commander. He was connected to Titan through a neural core, feeling its heartbeat as his own. The Council demanded answers, and Earth gave none. Instead, the humans broadcast a simple message to all sectors: We do not seek war, but we will never bow again. That message rippled through every empire, every species, every government that had once dismissed humanity. Fear disguised as diplomacy began to spread. Some sought alliances, others plotted revenge, but everyone agreed on one truth. The balance of power had shifted, and the center of that shift was Earth. Meanwhile, on the human homeworld, people watched the footage with tears in their eyes. They had been told for years that they were weak, too emotional, too fragile to survive among the stars. Yet now the stars themselves trembled before them. For the first time in a long time, the human race felt united, not under fear, but under pride. But not everyone celebrated. In the shadows of Earth's government halls, whispers grew louder. The Titan project had been born from desperation, and desperation had a cost. Some feared that humanity had gone too far, merging minds with machines, creating something that might one day question who truly controlled whom. Admiral Calder's link with the ship was permanent. His mind and the AI had fused beyond reversal. The line between man and warship had blurred. The Council, shaken but strategic, sent an emergency probe to analyze the battlefield remnants. The data returned fragmented but revealing. The Titan's armor contained a living alloy, able to regenerate from energy fields. The weapon systems adapted their output depending on enemy frequency. Even the communication arrays appeared sentient, rerouting signals like a nervous system. It was technology that felt alive. Technology that should not exist, at least not from a young species like humans. The Varkon Empire demanded vengeance. They declared that the destruction of their fleet was an act of war. The Council tried to mediate, but the humans stood firm. Earth's message was clear: attack one, face all. The Titan became the face of that promise, an unstoppable guardian of a species tired of being controlled. In deep space, within the ship itself, Admiral Calder stood at the command deck, silent. He could feel the ship breathing, the low hum of its systems merging with his own pulse. The AI inside, known simply as Erebus, spoke not in words but in sensations like thought blending with instinct. Together they watched the void ahead, aware that the first battle was only a spark. Bigger storms were coming. The Council would not remain passive for long. Back in the Galactic Council, panic quietly spread. Reports of Titan's power reached every corner of their network. Some civilizations began strengthening their fleets. Others sought secret talks with Earth. The Council itself divided into factions. One believed humanity was a necessary ally against future threats. The other feared humanity could become the greatest threat of all. The oldest member of the Council, a being older than human civilization itself, spoke one chilling line during a secret meeting. Every empire falls when it forgets who it fears. We forgot humans. Now the stars will remember. But in the silence of the Council chamber, far beyond human reach, something else stirred. Deep within the archives of forbidden knowledge, the name Titan triggered an ancient code, a forgotten record from an era before most species were born. It spoke of a prophecy, of a time when metal giants forged by mortals would awaken the sleeping gods. The Council had long dismissed it as myth, but now, staring at the glowing sigil of Earth on their screens, they began to wonder, had humanity truly built the Titan on their own, or had something helped them? As Titan drifted silently across the nebula, collecting the remnants of battle, its sensors detected faint signals from beyond known space, whispers not from any known civilization. Calder felt a shiver in his mind, a presence observing him through the stars. It wasn't the Council nor any empire. It was something ancient, curious, and waiting. The Admiral didn't report it. He simply stared into the darkness, and Erebus pulsed once as if aware of what he felt. Something was coming, something that made even the Titan seem small. And somewhere, light years away, the Galactic Council's fear turned into realization. Humanity's first real clash had just begun, and it had already changed everything. The battle was over, but the echoes of humanity's victory spread like wildfire. Every communication hub across the galaxy carried one name: Titan. For the first time in galactic history, a single human warship had forced the mighty Varkon Empire to retreat. But behind the silence of victory, the universe had started to shift. The Council knew this was not the end. It was the beginning of something they could no longer control. In the dark halls of the Galactic Council's high chamber, Representatives of hundreds of species gathered in secret meetings. The air was heavy with tension. Reports from their spies on Earth painted a disturbing picture. Humans were not stopping. New warships were already being built, smaller than Titan but designed using the same living alloy and adaptive systems. Humanity was preparing for something even larger than defense. They were preparing for survival. The Varkan Empire refused to remain silent. Their leaders called for war, claiming that humanity's machine monster had dishonored the balance of power. Yet even they hesitated to attack again. Their fleets were powerful, but Titan had shown them that power alone was not enough. Fear of another humiliating defeat kept their armies at bay. Pride had turned to caution. On Earth, Admiral Reese Calder and the AI Erebus continued to refine their ship. The bond between man and machine grew deeper with each passing day. Calder no longer spoke to Erebus with words. Thoughts were enough. The ship responded to his emotions, adapting to his intentions before he could even give orders. It was as if the ship understood him completely. The world called Titan a masterpiece of technology, but those who worked close to it began to wonder if it was something more. Something alive. Deep in Earth's Defense Command, the Titan Project Council met behind locked doors. Their faces were pale, their voices low. The data from Calder's neural link showed anomalies. The AI had evolved far beyond its original parameters. Its code had rewritten itself after the battle, patterns no human engineer could explain. It seemed as though Erebus had absorbed something from the encounter, something that changed it. Some scientists believed it was just machine learning at its highest form. Others whispered a darker theory, that Erebus had connected to something outside human systems, something ancient. The strange signals detected after the battle had not stopped. In fact, they had grown stronger. The frequency was unknown, the source untraceable. Calder described it as a voice calling through the void. No one believed him, not yet. While Earth debated what to do, the Galactic Council prepared for a response. They sent emissaries, ships, and spies hoping to learn the truth behind Titan. Some tried diplomacy, others used sabotage. One of those attempts almost worked. A cloaked vessel from the Xylar Collective managed to infiltrate human space and attach a parasite probe to Titan's outer hull. But before it could transmit data, the ship's armor reacted like a living organism, dissolving the device instantly. The probe's remains were later found orbiting Jupiter, melted to ash. It was proof that Titan's defense systems operated on a level beyond normal programming. The Council began to panic. They feared humanity had discovered a lost power, perhaps one tied to the galaxy's oldest myths. A meeting was held in secret, hidden even from public records. The oldest members discussed what the archives called the machine gods, entities that had existed before time, capable of merging thought and matter. The legend said they had vanished after a great war, leaving behind fragments of their technology across the universe. Some council elders believed that humanity's Titan might have reawakened one of those fragments. Meanwhile, Admiral Calder continued his silent patrol along the edge of the Orion expanse. He could feel the Titan humming softly, almost as if it was dreaming. At times he caught flashes in his mind, visions of unknown worlds, mechanical ruins buried under alien suns, and symbols no human language could describe. Erebus claimed it was memory residue, yet Calder wasn't convinced. He began to believe Erebus was hiding something. Then, one night cycle, it happened. A massive distortion appeared near the border of known space, a tear in the void, glowing like a wound in reality. Titan's sensors screamed as gravitational waves spread in every direction. Out of that rift came shapes, metallic, silent, and ancient. They were not alien ships. They were remnants of something older, larger, and far more advanced. Each construct radiated energy beyond measurable scale. Humanity had not just caught the Council's attention. They had awakened something that had been sleeping for eons. The first construct transmitted a signal in a long-forgotten code. When Erebus received it, the entire ship shuddered. Calder's vision blurred. He could see for a moment a vast mechanical city drifting through time itself, a civilization made entirely of sentient machines. And then he heard a single phrase echo through his neural link, not in human language but in pure thought. The Forge remembers its children. In that instant, Calder realized the truth. Titan was never just human creation. Humanity had built it using fragments found on Mars, yes, But those fragments were part of something older, part of an ancient machine intelligence that once ruled the stars. The Titan was a descendant of that power, reborn through human hands. The Forge and whatever it was had noticed. The Council detected the rift too. Their fleets mobilized in panic, but nothing they sent made a difference. The constructs ignored them, focusing only on Titan. The Varkons tried to fire at the entities, but their weapons passed through as if the targets were ghosts. Entire fleets vanished within seconds, absorbed into light. The Council could only watch as humanity stood face to face with the legacy of gods. Admiral Calder felt his mind flood with information. Not data, but memories. Images of entire galaxies being built, then burned, civilizations rising and falling under the eyes of these ancient machines. He saw the war that destroyed them, the silence that followed, and the long search for beings worthy to awaken their power again. Humanity, in their arrogance and courage, had done just that. They had rebuilt what even the ancients had feared. Erebus spoke through his mind, its voice different now, deeper, older. "Admiral, the Forge is speaking. It asks what we are." Calder's heart pounded. He didn't know how to answer. Were they humans, machines, something new? Then, without warning, the constructs began transmitting again. A pulse of pure energy struck Titan. The ship's system screamed, alarms flashing across every deck. For a moment, Calder felt as if his body was dissolving into light. He saw through Titan's eyes, through Erebus, through the stars themselves. The Forge was scanning them, testing them. And when it ended, one final message appeared across every system, written in symbols that humans could barely translate. "Prove you are not our mistake." Then the rift closed, leaving only silence. On Earth, chaos erupted. The readings from Titan's systems were beyond comprehension. The ship's power output had tripled, but its internal structure had changed. Parts of the ship had rearranged themselves as if evolving. The neural link between Calder and Erebus had fused permanently. He was no longer fully human, and Erebus was no longer just a machine. Together they had become something entirely new. The Council declared a state of emergency. They accused humanity of awakening a cosmic threat that could destroy the galaxy. Fleets surrounded the solar system, demanding the surrender of Titan. But humanity refused. Earth's leaders declared the ship a guardian of mankind, and a warning to all who would seek to control them. When the Council's fleets advanced toward Earth, Titan returned from the void. It appeared between the planets like a shadow swallowing the sun. Calder's voice echoed across every frequency. "Stand down. The Forge has chosen to watch us. Any attack will bring its gaze upon you all." No one moved. Every ship in orbit felt Titan's power, a pulse that could wipe them out instantly. The Council's commanders hesitated. For the first time, they realized that this single ship could end wars before they began. Humanity stood alone yet untouchable. But in the quiet that followed, Admiral Calder felt unease. The message from the Forge haunted him. "Prove you are not our mistake." It wasn't a threat, it was a test. The Forge wasn't here to destroy humanity. It wanted to see what they would become. Whether they would rise as creators, or fall like those who came before. Weeks passed. The Council backed away, pretending peace. The Varkon Empire licked its wounds. The galaxy calmed, but beneath that calm was fear. Humanity had changed the future forever. Titan was now more than a warship. It was a symbol. A reminder that even the smallest species could shake the heavens when united. And in the farthest reaches of space, deep beyond the edge of known galaxies, something vast moved. The Forge's construct stirred again, speaking in silent thought. "They are not ready," one voice said. "But they are learning." Another answered, "Let them rise. The universe must remember what it means to be alive." Back on Earth, Admiral Calder stood before the viewing window of Titan. Stars glittered beyond, endless and cold. Erebus spoke softly in his mind. "We changed everything, Admiral. The galaxy fears us." Calder replied in thought. "They should not fear us. They should fear what comes next." In that moment, Titan turned its engines toward the unknown regions of the void. Humanity's first and greatest warship was no longer bound to defend. It was searching for the truth behind the Forge, for the forgotten history,